Welcome to Lecture 4 in your Historical Thinking Skills series. This lecture is about historical interpretation and synthesis. We want to define both interpretation and synthesis according to the College Board. According to the College Board, interpretation is a historical thinking skill that involves the ability to describe, analyze, evaluate, and create diverse interpretations of the past, as revealed through primary and secondary historical sources through analysis of evidence, reasoning, context, point of views, and frames of reference. Synthesis is historical thinking that involves the ability to arrive at meaningful and persuasive understandings of the past by applying all the other historical thinking skills by drawing appropriately on ideas from different fields of inquiry or disciplines, and by creatively fusing disparate, relevant, and perhaps contradictory evidence from primary sources and secondary works. Additionally, synthesis may involve applying insights about the past to other historical contexts or circumstances, including the present. We're going to look at both of these in two separate slides. So when we're talking about interpretation, this is where you have to use your own thinking. This is the problem with skill number 4. This is the students who earn 5s on the AP exam and A's in this class have a natural ability to complete skill 4. Skill 4 is very, very, very difficult for freshmen to actually accomplish. This is something that your cognitive development just doesn't necessarily always allow you to get to. If you are constantly getting 4s and 5s on your essays, or you are constantly pulling a C in the class, it's because what's missing is historical thinking skill number 4. And there's not really anything we can do to teach that skill. Historical thinking number 4 just comes with practice and with time, and as you work more and more and more with advanced history classes. The problem is you guys don't like to think that there's not a right or wrong answer to a historical question. A historical question can have 1,000 different interpretations. If we looked at what caused the fall of the classical age empires, every single person who ever considered this question could come up with a different answer. You guys don't like that. You like to have absolute. You like to know that the answer to number 1 is A and the answer to number 2 is B. Well, unfortunately, in history, that's not always the case. A lot of people think that history is boring, that it is just memorizing facts and events and things like that. The students who really enjoy this course and who enjoy the history program here at Stanton really get into this interpretation and synthesis part of the courses. And if you don't like it, then you're just never going to get into this and you're never going to get a 5 on an AP. And that's okay. It's not a big deal. But this is the advanced skills that colleges and universities want you to have by the time they grant you a degree. The only time that you can have a wrong answer to a historical question is if you're using evidence that's not factual. If you're talking about Alexander the Great and you're writing an essay about Rome, you're wrong. He's not Roman. Or if you mix up leaders or if you mix up events and put it in the wrong time period, obviously your interpretation is in trouble. That's a basic mistake that no one should be making. We've given you the tools necessary to memorize the materials that you need to. I do not want to see any of those major mistakes throughout your interpretations. No one's interpretation of a historical event is the same. It's different. We all bring our own bias into our own thoughts about historical events. And this is where we talk about even modern politics. Everybody has a different opinion. Everybody has arrived at opinion in a different way. And everybody's opinion is just as valuable as another person's opinion. It's not wrong unless it's historically wrong. So keep that in mind as we go throughout the course. Synthesis is the final goal of the course. And I fully admit, many of you will never get here. And that's okay. It's just not going to happen your freshman year. Hopefully it'll happen next year when you're taking AP Euro. This is where your persuasive writing skills become super, super important. A lot of you guys, when we get to May, will still be writing narrative stories about history. You'll get some points, you may get a 3 on the AP, and that's fine. But you may not ever get a 9 on an essay. Don't let that frustrate you, because you're just not there yet. You just are not synthesizing information. The biggest problem, again, is that you cannot present a valid, logical, or whole answer to any historical question if you have missed any of the previous skills. So if you cannot contextualize, you cannot compare, and you haven't memorized anything, you're definitely never getting here. if you are doing your best to do those three things, then hopefully your brain will click and you'll be able to synthesize information and you'll be able to present clear argumentation about these historical events. History is much, much more than just memorizing stuff. There's a lot more to it. And in order to become an active citizen and in order to become someone who people want to listen to, this is a skill that you kind of need to get to. These aren't necessarily the smart kids or whatever. The people who are able to do this read a lot, they want to learn, and if that's just not you, it's not you. That's the end of your Historical Thinking Skills series. I hope that you've learned a little bit about what's expected of you in this course.